So, you want to start making music, or you're just starting out and you're already overwhelmed with the possibilities and how much work it is. I'm going to give you 3 tips that you should not follow. And at the end, some advice that's actually helpful. Number 1, learn an instrument. This is ridiculous. It's like, say you wanted to get into cooking, and one of the steps was learn to butcher a cow, or grow your own vegetables, just so you can cook. And actually, I think those two might be even easier than learning to play the piano or the guitar or some other instrument. So maybe the equivalent would be to learn how to shoot with bow and arrow so you can hunt and then you can get to cooking food? Anyways, no, don't learn an instrument. Your instrument is whatever music making software or app you want to use. That's your instrument. You'll tell it what notes it should play, in what order, and it'll play it with perfect timing without breaking a sweat. You'll still need to spend some time figuring out where things are on your DAW and how to get it to play the music you have in your head, but at least you won't have to deal with your fingers hurting or cramping up from playing the guitar, or the mental chaos of trying to play with both hands and keep a steady rhythm all at once. So yeah, save yourself a few months or even years of pain. Number 2, train your ears. What does this even mean? Like, are you supposed to give your ears little dumbbells and have them do some curls? Obviously, they mean ear training, like being able to recognize different chords, scales, and intervals, if you even know what those are. But here's the thing, unless your goal is to become some sort of human tuning fork, you don't need to stress about that kind of ear training right now. In fact, you've already been training your ears your whole life by just listening to music. You know what good music sounds like, and you know when something sounds off, even if you can't explain why. Over time, you'll naturally start to recognize patterns and sounds more intuitively. This is what music sounds like to most people. It's just a big blur of pleasant or unpleasant sound. As you start making music and listen to music more actively, things will start to get clearer. You'll begin to break down the big blur of sound into different instruments, sections, then maybe different keys, chords, etc. But in the beginning, don't sit there trying to identify whether the chord you're hearing is a C7 or a G minor 7 flat 5, because it won't get you any closer to making cool music. So no, your ears don't need a whole Rocky style training montage just to get started. Just listen to music with a bit more focus. Number 3, learn music theory. The rules of music. Exciting, right? Yeah. Think back to the last time you played a new board game for the very first time. Your friend has been rambling on for about 17 minutes explaining every rule and scenario, and you're just thinking, shut up. Let's just start playing and we can learn as we go. Well, it's the same thing with making music. You're not going to understand the whole game without playing it. So just start playing and focus on what sounds good to you. Most DAWs come with tons of presets and drum loops you can mess around with. Use them. Try different notes, beats, and instruments and trust your ear. Although I should warn you, one of the biggest issues I've seen with beginners is that they're overwhelmed by the amount of settings, instruments, and options available in most DAWs. It's really easy to get lost and really easy to make awful music and then just give up. So I made an app that protects you exactly from that. It's basically GarageBand on training wheels. Actually, you know when you go bowling, you can add bumper rails to your lane? It's more like that. So here's my advice on how to start making music. I'll show you on Wimbo because it's easier, but you can do it on literally any DAW. Start with one of those preset drum loops you can just drag into the project. The simpler, the better. Take 4 bars and loop them endlessly. Add any melody instrument like piano, synth, marimba, etc. Limit yourself to only one note at a time. Use only notes from the C major pentatonic scale. These are magical notes that always sound good. Stick to the grid. I suggest only quarter notes or eighth notes. With these rules, you can now try a whole bunch of different patterns. Go up, go down, repeat notes, go nuts. Eventually, this will get too easy or repetitive for you. So add just one layer of complexity. You could now have 2 notes at a time, or make it 8 bars long, or use the full major scale. I suggest picking just one of those so it doesn't get too complex too fast. But remember, the whole point is to keep things fun and simple. Overcomplicating music with endless options and rabbit holes is why most beginners quit before they even get started. This method of starting out protects you from that. Whether it's with Wimbo or another app, start small. Play around with what you know, build on it slowly, and pretty soon, you'll be creating music that sounds better and better. Take the leap, mess around, and enjoy the process. And if you end up using Wimbo, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear what you come up with. Happy music making!